Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Twitch chat, and welcome back to Let Us Play. I'm your host, Father Evan. It's good to be with y'all today. Good to see you, Catholic Brick. Good to see you, Mel. Good to see you, Beer Fox. Good to see you, Pistol McSquish. So glad y'all could be here today. And Brit, congrats on getting the first. The crown of firstendom has passed unto ye. May it keep ye safe this day. What? Oh, Mel, you've cheered 300 bits already. You woke up. No first for Mel. Mel chooses violence as response. I don't blame you. Let me pull up the wheel here. Nope. Wrong thing. All right. Delayed KMAX raid. Oh, did KMAX tell everyone just go over here? Welcome, Raiders. Vanilla milk. Vanilla milk. Okay, save tomorrow with the big whoosh whoosh in water. I hope so. Prayers for you. Okay, so vanilla milk. This is one of those Japanese candies, I think. I have to find it. We haven't had it yet. I don't know what this tastes like. This may not be good. It is one of those Japanese candies. Hey, Bad Roxy, good to see you. You're just in time for some candy. They're so good. How could it not be good? It's just the concept of vanilla milk. That's a sentence. Oh. I was thinking about streaming, but I think I'm just going to have to give up and play Deadlock. Or why not just stream Deadlock? Have everyone in chat tell you how you're doing it wrong, because that's what happens with MOBAs. Should be so much easier with a coin, like the instructions said, but I don't have a coin. Oh, come on. It's going to be a 2 by the time it hits you. Well, that's better. Because then I couldn't be there. Here. Well, that's fair. I like you being here. Oh, that's not a good color. That's like flesh colored. It's cream. It is. It's literally vanilla flavored milk flavor. No, it's worse. Landfall will still be a 3. But it was going to be a 1 when it hit. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were saying it had gone down. It's gone up. I'm sorry. That is worse. What color should cream be? Not like, there shouldn't be like red in it. Like, that's the thing. Like, this is, and it's not necessarily showing up on camera. On camera, it's looking fine. But like looking at it in the tin, this is like a pinkish hue to it. Like a makeup or flesh. Oh, that's... I'm not really getting much cream flavor. I'm getting plenty of vanilla, but it's like a lot of vanilla. It's... Is that your happy taste face? It is a taste face. Truly one of the candies of all time. It's not bad, which is what I say for a lot of these, but it's not what I would buy either. But it reminds me of something, of another candy I've had, and I can't place it. What type of candy do I like? Chocolate and sour, but not chocolate and sour at the same time. It is like a vanilla Tootsie Roll, Roxy. You're right. It is exactly like that. Another one of these candies that you've had, or a good candy that you've had. No, give me a sour candy. I love good sour candy. Would I download it? I'd download a car. Sour Skittles are the best. I love sour Skittles. Okay, I think the controller's actually going to work today. Hasn't dropped yet, which is... It's just got a weird lag to it. I think it's this computer. Okay, so we need to buy the blueprint for Buck's room in Edgeboro Lane. We need to figure out where to get a lobster. That's my favorite chocolate candy. Probably Cadbury's, like from England, like properly imported. Although I also like Necco wafers. Necco wafers are really good. Don't at me. Astrid, we just need to let her live her life, which is just like a thing. Gustav, I think the minimalist clock, we're just waiting for something. And cook a laksa. We need to figure out how to make a laksa. Fire glow and a powdered grain. Nope. Controller dropped. I don't know what it is. This game in particular just is like, nope, I don't like your controller. Do you like black licorice? Yes. What kind of game is this? A comfy one. Right, we need to make rose gold sheets and gold ingots, but I don't have gold. So why don't we set course for... Use a wire controller. Okay, the other problem for that, though, is I don't actually have an open port on the front of this PC, and also... It's only on this PC, which I'm not even going to be using for gaming in, like, hopefully a week. Foxbury. Ambertown. Edgeboro Lane. No, thank you for the help, Pistol. But yeah, no, it's just this one game, too. Like, I've used it on others. Yeah, my apologies. I was just riffing on the bit. Red licorice is just sweet nonsense? Valid. Gonna turn the game down just a bit more. That's why you love Ouzo, Absinthe, Picard Big. I read that last part is the cha-cha, and I'm like, what does the cha-cha dance have to do with black licorice? What I'm not as big on is salted black licorice, and that's really just like a texture thing. Twizzlers are low tier. Ooh, powerful statement. Twizzlers once took one of my mom's teeth. I'd take salted liquor. Yarn of Vast, spoken like a true pirate. Yeah, Gale and Bad Roxy, who are very close friends of mine in IRL, they went to And the time has come for you to cast a level 3 abundant meal spell. Oh. Nerd. They went to a Nordic country for their honeymoon, and they brought back all sorts of salted licorice. Twizzlers are violent too. Time to let them go. Well, the problem is that my mom ate a Twizzler. Finland, it was delightful.
Wow.
There we go, Jalen. There we go. Yeah, you're probably hungry. Oh. Yeah, you like... Maybe this? Is that good enough? Oh, right, they don't like crayfish. They don't like fish in general, I seem to remember. Hula Bay? Hey, Shadowvision. I need to make some more food that they'd eat. It's kind of like The Sims, but on a boat, and you're trying to get the Sims to be emotionally resolved enough to die. So kind of like The Sims. Yep, basically. Actually, let's look at recipes. Fine dining. Old-fashioned pub. I bet they'd like. Oop. Let's make 3 things of fried chicken. Yeah, 4 things, why not? You don't just pull the ladder out of the pool? That's how my Sims always died, mysteriously. You went to confession today! Hey, there you go. Very nice. Just like a factory reset. Wait. Oh, I'm planting its place. Linen. I'm low on linen. Need linen pants. They're so comfy. Got a rosary and mass. There you go. You're ready. Please don't go, though. The basic gameplay loop is getting people to move on. Yeah, but in like a good way. I miss my linen pants. Well, valid. But soon you'll have a little person that you can dress up in a whole new wardrobe. You were all wrong about liking black licorice. Oh, I know for a fact your husband likes black licorice. Rota! I forgot to look at the readings, so let me pull them up. Actually, I think I did look at them, but I forgot what I would have said. I didn't have a mass today. Oh yeah, it's Martha and Mary. What a classic text. kiss him when he eats it. Fair enough. Yeah, and it's really interesting how Martha and Mary have been sort of read and interpreted. And it's actually kind of off that text that the church has kind of looked at the difference between the religious vocation and the secular vocation, in that, like, particularly within religious life and priesthood and living in the world, and that the religious life is kind of this greater meditative, it is the vocation of Mary. It's like, I think there's a lot there to unpack historically and theologically, so I don't know how much of it I necessarily immediately agree with, although I do like to joke around that it's like, as a religious priest, I outrank diocesan priests. But I think it is still worthwhile to ask ourselves, are we taking time to be like Mary? Being Martha's is great as well. Jesus never says she chose a bad part. Have I considered becoming impatient about impatience? I know Twitch Grandma has my back. Priest linked Martha's anxieties over the hurricane. Okay. I think there is something to be said about that, like, trying to calm your people. There's also, like, a legitimate, like, hey, a hurricane's coming, make sure you do, like, actually, like, put out sandbags or evacuate if you can. I'm sure in context it sounded better, especially because it was happening in Florida. But I could also see a well-meaning person, of any Christian denomination really being like, oh, don't worry. Everything will be fine. Just be like Mary. It's like, no. No, please don't just be like Mary when there's a hurricane coming. Like, have some trust and some peace, yes, but being balanced about response to hurricane is the way to go. Yeah. What do you mean? Taking going to Cape Canaveral or it's Cape Canaveral in Florida, right? And getting a rocket and going to the moon to ignore and avoid the hurricane isn't a measured response. He emphasized the over-anxiety part. Ah, okay. I'm going out to the Gulf of Mexico to avoid hitting the hurricane. Yeah, just go around it. As the title says, I'm in a boat, and so can you. Isn't that a problem to teach that religious life is better than married life? I do think that there are problems in that, but there's also a value in the reality. The church teaches it kind of in the way that those who are celibate live closer to the reality of the kingdom where there is not marriage, where they are not given in marriage. So I think that's kind of where it's coming from, but don't get me wrong, it absolutely can be misapplied. However, anxiety would be things like going inside, closing your windows, canceling your cruise in the Gulf. No? Yeah, it's one of those weird things where it's like there is, where we're talking about in like theological level of like witnessing the kingdom, like there is a difference. But it doesn't mean that the other one is bad by any means. In fact, both are amazing. That's it, I'm booking a second cruise in the Gulf. About time. You can be on 2 boats at once. What am I doing? Right, we're headed to Edgebury Lane. Should be grinding some things. That's what I meant to be doing. And we're here. So we have... Let's grind up some rice. Why not? I would put it past summertime to fly to space to avoid a hurricane. No, I prefer the idea of summertime going to space. I forgot where I heard it, but this is the sacrifice only has value insofar as the thing being sacrificed. So the reason why we know that the priesthood is so good and so valuable is because we know how good marriage is. Yeah, that is a very good and healthy way of looking at it. Pondering the hierarchy of vocations was part of your discernment out of religious life. Some vocations may be higher than others, but most important things is that we're all called to relationship with God. Amen. Universal call to holiness. Let me in. Universal call to holiness based. I kind of want a total stranger to call me based at some point and for me to respond, please never call me that again. You guys have vocations? Hey, we all have vocations. Most importantly, we all have a vocation to holiness. But yeah, then a really fun and obscure way that the whole, like, level of quality of a vocation gets played out is actually in processions. Because there's a thing called, like, precedence in processions. And it's like, who goes where? And it gets over the history. I mean, the church's been doing this for 2,000 years. And it oftentimes has to have, like, all the rules for when the Pope is there and all everyone is there. But it gets down to very minute details of, like, literally at one point it's like, okay, and this is where the patriarchs of Antioch go. And this is the order that they go in when they're all together. It brings a smile to my face, knowing that someone somewhere had to think that through and be like, which one's going to be best? Yes, I can feel its veritable magic flowing through my nostrils. The perfume possesses the distinct aromas of lilacs and elderberries. Oh, that sounds quite pleasant, actually. Look at it. Cryptic runes, silvery ornaments. Without the shadow of a doubt, the scroll is written in the ancient language of Nagadan. Bro, you're a nerd. Make a knowledge roll 18. Fantastic. Your success indicates you can read Old Nagadian proficiently. Commander, let yourself be guided by its enchanted instructions. Once the house is built, I can finally read the rest of the scenario. Once the lair is erected, I will rest at last, and I will have the power to pierce through the ethereal veil and communicate with the elemental powers. My humble fate lies in your hands, Commander. I like him. He's a sweetheart, but he's a nerd. Don't think either of those words are happening. Hopefully the overall road is still happening, though. So I need to find Pine. Which I'm thinking is going to be in this last area, but I don't... What am I missing to get into this last area? I can't even remember. Yeah, single life is absolutely a vocation. Whether consecrated or not. What a wonderful world where you can just, like, make your fried chicken and walk away. Let's do maple syrup and wheat flour. Let's make some pancakes. Do not feel like doing a comet run right now. And the boat doesn't burn down. Father Heaven is offering fried chicken? I mean, give me enough materials. Although I don't know if I'll have time to do much cooking at GothCon, because I'm already... A, we're all already busy. And B, I'm already saying Mass and hearing confessions. You're hearing confessions too? I hear confessions basically anywhere I go. It's my job. Jens is making chili beforehand. Oh, that's smart. When did I change my camera angle? When I had to change computers. Because, like, this is where my streaming PC and work PC is, and my gaming PC is all over there. But the gaming PC fried out. Like, its CPU and its motherboard did something, and it fried. Fortunately, update on that. So the GPU I also sent out for repairs just in case. And it got tested, and they said it's fine, and they're sending it back soon, hopefully. They finished testing it on Friday, and they still haven't shipped it back. And it's like, come on! But that's good news, because that means the RAM and the hard drive, well, solid-state drive, are probably fine. And the motherboard is currently being repaired. So hopefully... So Mobo isn't fried? No, I think Mobo is fried. Well, it's at least damaged. The GPU wasn't, though. That's good news. But I liked how the CPU people handled it. They just sent me a new one. They're just like, we might fix this up and, you know, make it into a second-hand unit or whatever. But for you, we're just gonna immediately send you a new one. Yeah, not a voltage surge that messed up other components. I think something was wrong with the CPU itself, just like a manufacturing error. Just because of other errors and whatnot that were happening. So hopefully, and I think that screwed up the motherboard. Wait, why does that make cake? I want to make pancakes. Probably gonna wait for the new 9800X 3D processor for getting stuff. Yeah, I'm just a little late on that. Fruit candy. What does an egg and a maple syrup make? It doesn't sound good. Okay, so now we have rice flour. I'm not holding out on you. Here, have fried chicken. French toast? I'm hoping it's French toast. For pancakes. Tamago? I don't think Tamago is being... Well, I guess Tamago is a little sweet. You know what slaps? Onsen Tamago. Yeah, we're just letting Astrid do her thing. So let's hug Astrid. We haven't hugged Astrid in a while. Mom, I'm starving here. Give me a hug. Where is our new friend? We haven't seen his hug animation yet. Whoop! Nope, don't leave without me, boat. Oh, actually, I don't think we have a pair. Aww, that's a cute hug because she's his mom. I love the hugs. Are you playing dead? Aww. I was in dire need of a spirit heal. My mana was low. Nerd. I'm gonna say that every time he does something. For the record, I myself have no room to talk. Creme brulee, alright, let's go. But, I also think the way he talks is incredibly nerdy and also very cute. Okay, let's try rice flour and fire glow. It does make sense to make custom. Oh, my friend John has been sent to prison. He was a blacksmith. He was caught forging people's signatures. Maple creme brulee would slap. Now I want to try that. Right, I need bottled ectoplasm, and I don't know where to get that. I also need a spirit flower, but that's taking someone through the spirit door, through the Everdoor. That's fine. Crystal glass sheet, fine. But bottled ectoplasm, where am I supposed to get that? His puns are the best. Uh-oh. Kit, speaking of puns, Nana Kit has redeemed a father joke. How does Moses make his tea? He brews it. Want to know the manner of certain things are unlocked? I've gotten access to all characters so I can tell you which one provides what. Maybe in a bit. Because, like, I have some ideas. Laksa! Alright, I knew we'd get there. Hey, little birdie.
Oh, you got the spices all right. This smells amazing. All right, let me give it a try. My stomach is basically a hot pepper at this point. I can handle it.
Creme brulee. Laksa.
It's just the right kind of tongue burning. I mean, it's incredible. You haven't asked your way around the kitchen. Wow. I can feel my sinuses clearing.
This lady knows what's up when it comes to spicy.
Thank you, sweet pea. I suppose I got carried away a bit back there. Sorry, there wasn't any left for you. Don't worry, I'll make it up to you. I know. This was supposed to be a treat for you as well. Next time. Well then. Do you have a minute? Like I was saying, I've been having this dream. Don't worry, I'm not a monster. I won't start telling you all my dreams, so maybe a little. So in my dream, I was using the projector in archive room B2522. Then I was transported inside the images. The first image was, well, let's see. Oh, I remember. We went sightseeing in the city. We rented an apartment for the whole family. It was so luxurious. We had the whole week planned out. Museums, parks, restaurants. Obviously, Henry got sick on the first day. I remember staying by his side knitting. The only thing he was able to do was draw. Poor thing. He was obsessed with this cartoon show back then. They're probably just giant robots in men in tights. The whole apartment was in the old Central District. It was supposed to be our home away from home, for a week at least. The whole time I was eating a giant bag of sweet corn. Best dreams for you. They're always a bit foggy. Anyway, if you find an acetate, it will jog my memories a bit more. Thanks again, sweet pea. You're a lifesaver.
Okay. Well, that is helping us. don't think I can go beyond this barrier, so we'll see what happens here. So I think this is the fog barrier. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna need the fog thing. Old Central District. Okay. Mel, congratulations, you have thrown your points into the point hole. Goodbye to those points, they are gone forever. And yet the points hole is still hungry for more. In the door, Stella. In the door. It's always hungry. I know, it's the perfect thing to have around for Halloween month. I believe she was saying goodbye to the points, but she's also leaving. I hope you have a great rest of your day, Mel. If you're sticking around, I hope you also have a great rest of your day. Oh yeah, an old shoe. Pretty sure I don't have any. Fine, yeah. I'm in bed with the phone. Look, I can play the violin. Yes, you're very talented at the artistic gifts. Hibiscus tea. With a kitty on each side. Oh, now I'm jealous. I think they know I don't feel great. Aw. I'm sorry you're not feeling great. BRB, gonna boil some water! I'm sure you... It has a mushroom on it. I'm sure you have every intention of using said boiled water, but I also just like the image of you being like, I feel like boiling water now. I'm working remotely. Me every day. Okay, where... So... An apartment. When you're rich, it's easy to boss people around. I don't even have a job, and I act like a boss. If my father could see me now, he would be proud. If only my father loved me. There, random spirit. Checking emails. Yeah, no, it's good that you can work remotely, but... Hurricane prep and safety are first. This is so intense. Look down over there. Ants. We're giants. I think we're better than them. Wow. Strong opinions. Wait, there's a treasure chest up there. I learned to make cornbread. How hard can it be? It's corn and bread. There it is. Oh, barely. And a bovine license, okay. There we go. There seems to be something fundamentally wrong with the universe when it's like, oh yeah, a hurricane's coming. Still work. Sorry, my phone had died, but you're back and better than ever. All right. You're just being a silly goose as well. All right, good to know. It's sometimes hard to know on text. Does sleep matter when you're off the ship? I don't think sleep really matters for Stella in general, it seems. Whee! What is it? Are you gonna tell me you're hungry? Yeah, the door's locked. We already tried that. Big guy couldn't smash open. Whoever lives here has pretty tight security. He must be loaded, which means there's something worth stealing inside. That's why I never lock my front door. Let people know that I don't have anything worth taking. Which isn't true, but it's all mind games. You volunteer my parish? I don't have a parish, but I would accept your volunteering. That's no offices are closed, but offices being closed just means work remotely as long as you have internet and power. Yeah. Father Evan is pretty cool. Who totaled that? You can come in, but you're entering a world of pain. Don't make the rules, Scout. That's just life around here. Look, I got in. What was that about it being locked? You? What are you doing here? I didn't know the circus was in town. You need to get down from here. You're not allowed. I make good money to live here, alone with my things. If I wanted to see an acrobat, I'd pay to see one. Stop trying to rob you, burglar. That escalated quickly, but also, I'd like the treasure chest on top of your house, please. Which means I probably... Okay, I think I know what I need to do. I need to re-enter this building again. Look at this exciting platforming. Quit trying to rob people. Felt I should admonish them before heading back to the boat. I would totally have this one as my priest. He's quite approachable and genuine. Killer smile, sense of humor. People are being too nice. Oh, I don't know how to process this. No, thank you so much to all of you. Love y'all too. Hey, Mithril. Good to see ya. Greetings from New York City to Portugal. Gotta wake up, do the chores. Today, Porto. Tomorrow, Lisbon. There you go. I've never been to Portugal. Okay, where is our little bird friend? When it comes to Europe, I've been to Ireland and Italy. Have you discovered the Portuguese love for cod? Interesting. Didn't know that. No, you're allowed to do Corinthians 13. I won't stop you. It is a perfectly fine wedding. But I will also thank a couple when they don't pick it. My boat's too big. I can't find the itty-bitty bird. Maybe she's in her itty-bitty house. She is not. Well, the cow is very hungry. Let's give the cow a potato. I need a map for my boat. I do. It's really gone from a small sailing vessel to a cruise ship at this point. Oh, maybe she's in the library where we're going to show this. Yep. Is that a tiki bar? Yes. Giovanni wanted it before he left.
Oh, look at that. That's not a giant robot. That's me. Oh, I look so young. Oh, wow. He was drawing me knitting in that chair. Oh, Henry. Growing up made such a sweetheart out of him. Before that, he was a little monster. The kind of kid who's noisy when the show is on, but calm during the commercials. One day, he just calmed down. It was strange. Overnight, he became his dad. Brilliant and quiet. Real quiet. He just retreated to his thoughts. What an odd thing to do. To think in your head at night. To, dream. Yeah, dream about.
But yeah, unfortunately, we can't make beverages. I haven't constructed the cellar yet. I wonder if I can construct the cellar. Smithy cellar, there it is. Linen and bottled ectoplasm. Still need bottled ectoplasm. I'm guessing our D&D nerd is going to help us get the bottled ectoplasm. I plan to have cod tomorrow. Today it was Francisina. Ooh. I feel like we haven't explored past here. I wonder if there's something I'm missing. None on the map, so those are the comets. Oh, those are the comets. Is that a different comet system? She has marble for us. It's kind of a lot going on at Flotsam Shores. I feel like we're going to get a spirit from there at some point. Is that Francis? It is. We have any errands for you? Ah, yes. Gonna hold on to these bovine licenses for now. I'm trying to decide if I want to cook. That is a fair question. My answer would be yes, but I like cooking, so. Controversial Burkadoo. Ooh. Based on Twitter discourse. You may ask, but I reserve the right to say no. I'll say we have to cook. Not that kind of cooking. I never saw Breaking Bad either, but that's because it came out when I was in college and didn't have money or access to watch it, so. But I do know the memes. What is the opinion of having female altar servers? Good. All serving at the altar is part of the universal vocation of holiness and seeing relationship of ourselves in Christ. There are no women on the internet. Oh. Just love when I say things like that. Well, I'm glad, because I'm going to probably keep saying them like that. I mean, I'm not surprised Twitter's going to have discourse on things in general. That's what Twitter's good at. Good at. Think of it, Stations of the Cross in virtual reality. That could be interesting. Twitter is a place. Oh, hey, I don't think we've done this.
All right. You've got this. Counting on you here. Show us what you've got. Ready? Let's do this. Let's look at this, Mickey.
This is... Have I done this one before? I have done this one, like, once before. Because this gets me the pulsar ores. Okay. Yeah, I think it's actually actively unhealthy to the understanding of the role of altar server in general to think of it as little priests to be. Like, I think altar serving can help a vocation for sure, but it can help discern all vocations. You know, I'm sure there are religious women out there who are like, yeah, I had a great experience as an altar server, and that made me become more invested in my faith, and that led to me seeking religious life. Because it's all in service to life at the altar. Like, the ministerial priesthood is a particular kind of vocation and relates to the altar in a very particular way, but all vocations inherently relate to the altar. It's why we do weddings at altars.
I do enjoy being on this boat. I've been wondering, would it be possible to build me a house? You remember the kids and David and I lived on a farm. We had nature all around. We had dogs and goats. Goes a little farmhouse. It wasn't much, but it's ours.
Like, this one?
Oh, my little farmhouse. That's right. It's right here. Ah, a job well done once again. Not everyone is good with houses.
Oh. Oh, she has really bad memory issues. Zinc and bottled ectoplasm. I love doing readings once I have good transportation, still good standing. Are you doing it again? That's awesome. Lecturing is another great way of serving at the altar and to come and know and understand what it means to proclaim God's word.
Oh, I know what I wanted to tell you. This man from town was one of the 2 real estate agents around. He had just started and wanted to make an impression. He always had a giant mustache and was always wearing a tuxedo. He was quite odd. Anyways, it turns out he couldn't sell the house to save his life, but he was the lead salesperson in his district for 2 years straight. The local paper did a big story on him. They found out that his wife was buying up all the properties. She had like 20 houses in her name. The whole neighborhood was empty. She could afford it. Her dad had struck rich in oil. Just goes to show you. You can't judge it by his... well then.
Oh no. Got asked just about 10 seconds before the reading. Yeah, that happens at weddings. So that's a thunderstorm. Let's go to Flotsam Shores. There's more there to be discovered. Being lectured at your mom's wedding was really special. I can imagine. Randomly elected the second reading when visiting Santorini. Yeah, that also happens. I spent a summer in Rome, and I was at the church where there's the conversion of St. Paul by Caravaggio. It's a gorgeous piece. Oh my gosh. But Mass was starting, so I'm like, cool, I'll go to Mass here. And the priest comes out, and he starts the Mass. It's all in Italian, which I'm not great at, but I know where we are in the Mass. And it gets to the point of the readings, and he kind of just looks around, and it's like, is someone going to come forward? Nope. Okay. And then he just does it himself, but it just, you know, there's that greatness of, just like making it happen, coming together. It's a meal. It's a gathering, you know, it's messy. It's wonderful. And God chose to put us, to be in the middle of that messiness. And I love that. Because he's in the middle of our mess, and I need that, knowing my mess. Do I miss anything from my stays in Rome? Definitely the food. I'm not a big coffee drinker, so like that was never really a thing. But like, definitely the food. Just so much good food. And I was only there summer. It wasn't like it was one class. It wasn't a ton. So, but the sightseeing too, like it's so. And my spiritual director gave me really good advice, and I give this advice to people who going to Rome for the first time themselves. Go as a pilgrim, not as a tourist. Like, take the time to be prayerful and visit these shrines. and these locations, because of what they are and who's there, etc., and like the meaning behind it, not just to take in the art, because the art's awesome, but also I was on a mission trip and Lecter just never got up, and the priest unverbally told me, yeah, that happens. It's great when you have a seminarian because they're on the lookout for that face. Hey, speaking of cod, let's cook some cod. Let's do cod and olive oil. When there's an MC at Mass, can they not concelebrate? So they can, but it's preferred that they don't, because the thing is that when you're, and speaking as someone who has MC'd a number of large masses, you're not in the spiritual space to concelebrate. Like, you are so focused on everything else that you can't join in that same way that you would as a concelebrant. Can someone close the door? We have the AC on. I've had to occasionally, if I'm setting up for Mass for myself, sometimes I'll start and then I'll light the candles and go, I'm sorry, I totally forgot to light the candles. Other times, one time I started Mass and I forgot to turn on the sound system, and the thing is that the sound system is in the sacristy, which is a good distance away. It's a pretty big church. So Mass and Pallid start again. That happens. That can be a thing. I know a priest who, he had lost his father, and he was back in the parish a week later, celebrating Mass. And he accidentally skipped the whole institution narrative. Like, he went from the preface to the prayers after the institution narrative. And in the middle of it, he stopped himself, and he just paused, and he spoke to the congregation and said, I'm sorry. It's kind of a lot going on in my mind and my heart right now. And they knew what was going on. And so he said, we're just going to have to start over. And they did. Hold your thought. There's treasure. At a Prince wedding, the fire alarm went off. Oh, no. So during COVID, when everything was being broadcast, we did the Vigil Mass, and I was working the camera, and I hear this beeping sound, and what had happened is our seminarian had taken the thurible into another room, which we had planned on, but we hadn't realized it would set off the fire alarm, and so it was just like constantly beeping faintly in the background. Right before they started the Eucharist prayer. Well, better than the middle. So instead I turned to some of the music ministry who's doing the guitar in the middle of the homily. Wow.
Freaky. You probably wondered where I've been lately. I've been hiding out in my house. I didn't want to come out. It's like in a small town. World gets and the gossip starts. My walls are not that thick. I can still hear people talking about me. This thing, unwarranted gossip, I mean. It happened all the time back in town. People didn't seem to change. One of my good friends was always nice to me. She always praised my hairstyle or the way I dressed. Compliments were always coming. And this was when I had just lost my brother. You remember? I told you a story about the sudden brain aneurysm. Poor thing. Taking the dog for a walk, then poof, on the ground. Well, it was around that time. One day I was at her house for a garden party, and we had to leave early. My husband wasn't feeling too well. Too many cocktails. He was such a lightweight. Well, we left quite suddenly, but I'd forgotten my purse. I came back not 15 minutes later, and from the sidewalk I could hear she was talking behind my back, talking about how I wore the same dress to 2 parties in a row. She said in an offhanded way, like she was stating a fact. Everyone knows that. She should know better than. That's what I remember. The way it made me feel. I didn't like it. That's how I feel now. Nobody likes to be kicked when they're down. I've been feeling like I'm losing my mind. And on top of that, other people in this boat have been talking about me behind my back. I don't want to put yourself in a delicate situation, but could you help maybe do the rounds and see for yourself what's going on? I would appreciate it. Thank you, sweetie. Oh no, and she's got a form of paranoia as well. The poor thing is suffering. Oh.
I made codfish sticks. Is Father Evan speaking Simlish? Close. We lit all our candles and incense for Easter Vigil. Finally turned out the lights. Surprised our fire alarm didn't go off. It was hazy in the house.
Mom?
Gossip you say about Beverly? Why, Stella? Well, bad-mouthing and hearsay are sadly deeply rooted parasites in the artistic world. Let me reassure you, I will not and do not and never did partake of them. Besides, I'm far too busy with my endeavors. I believe that last part for sure. You know what you guys get? Where are they? Where are the fish sticks? That's some fish sticks.
Now we're talking. That's some good job. Pub food is the best when you get the munchies. Mickey here is psyched.
Breaking 3 that a friend just messaged me. Do angels like us, or do they suffer, intercede for us because God orders or asks them to? That's a good question, actually. I don't know the psychology of angels. I like to think they like us. Is there anything specific that took your breath away in Rome, like specific historical area or site? The Baths of Caracalla. I got to see... So the Baths of Caracalla, it's an ancient bathhouse. The ruins are still there of some of the basilica walls. And they've turned it actually into a stage. Like, they've very carefully constructed this stage in the area. Like, nothing is touching the ancient ruins itself. But because of the shape of the walls, they produce a very natural amplifying effect. And I got to see Turandot there, which was a mind-blowing experience. But also all the papal basilicas, like going to Santa Maria Maggiore, going to St. Peter's for the first time. Like, oh,
What? Old Bev, behind her back? Nah. Never say nothing about nobody. Wait, about to go and snitch?
there's a golden rule. You treat your elders with respect. Family is everything. And I believe it.
Sweetie. Oh, I didn't sleep well last night. My back was killing me. What are you doing? Are you busy right now?
Not especially.
Oh, I didn't ask you to do that. I haven't been talking to anyone. If people had been talking behind my back, I don't think they would have had time to form an opinion of me. Are you sure I asked you to do that? Oh, it sounds like something you would do on your own. I might go introduce myself now. Hopefully you haven't ruined my reputation by now. Oh, sweet pea. Always trying to help out.
Bev? The hummingbird went to the Fast Furious School of Morals. Yeah? It's okay to steal. Disrespect your elders and family? No. I'm okay staying in the States? That's fair. I don't really want... Wait, no, I want to be here. I don't particularly want to live in another country, but I certainly love visiting. Oh, right. This is the place that everything is built in to the underground. Or the underwater, I guess. Hello, stranger. Have a good one. I'm busy. I'm trying to find a gift for my brother. Something on a budget. He's not worth a full-price gift. Write that on a birthday card. You're not worth a full-price gift. I'll figure it out. I just need to think about it. Right, and we couldn't get up here because of that. Because we didn't have the jumpy ability yet. Tuna, no crust. But I like tuna with some crust. Lobster! Astrid, how did you get here? Like a seared ahi tuna? Like, that has a crust, it's really good. I'm picking up some ore. Thank you, Astrid. Hey, don't be crusty, Father Evan. Oh. I'm glad you said something. It would have been odd for you to just pass by. Well, that's it. Have a good one. Okay. So how do I get in there? I didn't think I missed something in here, but... Okay, yeah, there is more of a way to go up there. Oh, you can keep bouncing on those and go higher each time. I'm learning. Speaking of Mahi Mahi, learn Ding. Just like help Ding. Okay, so I don't think I... Yeah, Buckslayer, I need pine, which I haven't found yet. Cellar, I need bottled ectoplasm. I can make the linen fabric. You're going to make a burger? Burger. Do a burger with blue cheese. Let's build her a comfy little chair. Cook. I'm going to make... cook. Yep. One milk, see if that makes butter. Hot milk. I don't know what I expected. A lobster roll, that's what I need to make them. Do I have the recipe for a lobster roll? I think I do. Yeah, lobster and flour. Okay. Yes, Bev, I see you. Don't worry. You know what sounds good? Euro. I've been wanting to get a euro from the Greek place down the street from me. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow.
I do enjoy being on this boat. I've just been wondering, would it be possible to build me a house?
This is hard. This is hard. I'm not angry with her for the record. I don't want people to think I'm angry. I'm just, it's like, oh, it's hard hearing this request again and again and being like, it's right there. You don't remember. That's, Dementia is hard on everyone. You live in the land of good father, of good food. I do live in. Yes, Bev. Bev, can I help you? Would you like a house?
Stella, I know you know something's not right with me, with my memory. Now I can think about things. I can't think the way I used to anymore. It's really hard. But you're here and it helps. You know what? Don't worry about it. All right, so did you remember more about the dream I was telling you the other day? You know, the one with the projector and the sweet corn? That's right. And that one I was looking at Dad's old film negative. It was from when he was stationed in Europe. I don't remember where exactly. He never really talked about his experience. He probably was my complete opposite. He didn't mention seeing some beautiful houses. He always said we should have built a house in that style. What was the name of that place? Nordweiler? That sounds right. Well, hopefully you find an acetate. Oh, take this. I'm sure it'll come in handy. Thanks again, sweet pea.
There will be a taco salad. Hey, we had tacos for lunch. Taco Tuesday. And I like the sisters tacos. But they can also, but I prefer, man, they make us these fajitas that are to die for, and occasionally chicken mole. They'll do chicken mole for like people's birthdays. Oop. Yoo-hoo. Mickey, where are you guys at? Oh, there you are.
Morning. Hey, morning, kid.
What if I gave you a lobster roll? Be back if you're still streaming. All right, you go take care. I'll be live for about another 40 minutes. So, I made turkey quesadillas last night. Nice.
Well, you took your sweet time. Wait, what's this? There's fish in a lobster roll. Nicky can't eat that. He's allergic. We might be starving, but we ain't gonna eat this. You know what? There's this place in Woodbridge. They had an amazing slogan. What was it? Yeah, it doesn't matter. They're the best fried chicken, so bring him some fried chicken.
You asked for a lobster roll! Why would you say, hey, my buddy has a shellfish and just generic seafood allergy. Please bring us a... I think I have fried chicken. Land!
Apparently there's this blade called Great Mist Peaks. It shouldn't be far from here. Making things you well. Well, we both think you're doing a decent job. Listen, we've been asking a lot from you. Consider this as our treat, a little camping trip for your efforts. Some recognition for your discretion in our affairs. We've never actually been camping, but we would do this as a gift for you. Let's go take a look at the rocks and trees and whatnot. That's more like it. This is exactly like that place. What was the name? Mick doesn't know either. Still, it really hits the spot. That's what Scout's for. Scouting for good food. Keep them coming. Hopefully we won't have to ask next time. Listen here, you butt. Okay, where's this new location?
Ah. Great. Great. You want to go to Grey Mist Peaks? I can't go there yet. Do you guys have ectoplasm in the bottle? That would help. Well, we can take the bus stop to Nordweiler. Loneburg, Nordweiler. Thank you, Magic Seal. I can't believe I just broke a nail. I can't believe that I have nails long enough to be able to say that I just broke a nail. I'm sorry and congrats. I think? I don't know. I'm not quite sure how to respond to that one. Let's plant more garlic. It's always good to plant more garlic. I don't know either. Oh. Help, we're both lost. $40 until the next hurricane track update. Oy vey. That must be very tense having to wait for those. It might keep shifting slightly south. I've heard that's kind of the best case scenario, if I remember reading stuff correctly. Astrid. Uh-oh, is Astrid ready to go to the Everdor? Stella, Munchkin, I'm so tired, so old. I can't do it anymore. I can't go much further. Will you do me a favor? Bring me there, sweetheart. Bring me to where it ends. Oh. I'm gonna have to say goodbye to Astrid. She's had a complicated life, but... Here's hoping either way. I'll be hit with about Cat 2 at least. Yeah. I'm gonna buy this just because I have so much money. Don't I have a key for that? There we go. Strasbourg, 1944. Can I have this extra money? It's unfortunately in the currency of Glims, which I don't think has a real world translation amount, so... Midday forecast looking better for North Bay. Well, that's something at least. I can't believe the game would torture me this way by making a giant mushroom. What if I say no?
Wow, your head is so big. Man, look at that cat. Wow. Am I in a garden? Is this a boat on water? Oh, this is wild. Catch this. It was in the ground with me. See ya.
Oh, I don't want to like you because you're a mushroom, but you're kind of really sweet. Not the cordyceps. It doesn't even have a host organism. Okay, I gotta know what the hug animation looks like. Okay, that feels nice. Don't tell me this is a child that died. Was he a fun guy? Get a fun guy? I'm worried, given the height and the way they just, because I don't know if it's a he or a she yet, but the way they just talked to me was like very childlike. It was very beautiful in that way, but it's also like, oh, are we gonna be dealing with child death? That can be a lot. This game has feels. So I don't know if... Do you feed a mushroom? Menacing sheep, apparently. Oh, that is a menacing sheep. You serve a mushroom detritus.
Oh, what is that? Wow, that view. I love the look of those houses. Ah, they're so beautiful. My father was obsessed with architecture. He was a veteran. He went overseas and fell in love with the buildings. Even on the battlefield, he carried a film camera around his neck. He'd always be taking pictures. Can you believe that? Despite the violence and carnage, he still found beauty. Seeing those buildings fall apart left quite the impact on him. He didn't talk about it much. The war, I mean. The architecture became more than a... He talked about that all the time. Did I ever tell you that I lost my purse with my address book and my mother's brooch? I don't think so. But that purse had that photograph inside. I would take it out from... Let me take a little break.
Okay, let's go take Astrid through the Everdoor. I don't want to, but we need to let her rest. I do think the most moving death so far, like they've all been moving in their own ways, but the most moving death was the porcupine and her dimension, and the way that scene played out, that was tough. Oh no! Oh, no, friends.
Ah, you woke me up. Your room is itchy. I like to sleep in here. Where should I sleep? The guest house? Yes. I could make it. Stanley's room. I get it. Thanks, Big Hat. Oh, hey, Stella. I can feel it in my bones. The season is about to change. Let's take a look at the flowers. I don't remember. We were neighbors. To the big, beautiful red anemones in our garden. I was so surprised when they would bloom each springtime. I probably thought it was magic or something. How did they survive all winter? Well, flowers are resilient. I remember when they want to grow, to see the sunlight, to feel its warmth. It's what I like most about you, Sweet Pea. You're always the brightest part of my day. I'm glad we were neighbors. Neighbors.
Ah, we finally arrived. I feel so weak. Can we go now? Yeah. Okay. Let's do this. I can't hold it any longer. like that they've all gathered to say goodbye. I don't think it's wise to live that long, Munchkin. Good thing I've never been that wise. But boy, am I old. Being this old is disappointing. I'm just being ugly on the outside and rotten on the inside. It hurts so much. Life is suffering. It is hard. The world is cursed. But still, you find reasons to keep on living. I don't regret a thing, you know. I don't regret the struggles. I don't regret the hardships, the pain, the sorrow. I've seen so much of it. But still, I don't regret what I've done or how I've lived my life. I wish the world had been a better place. A better place for them. For us. But surely, a better place for you, my dear. I feel like a vast vessel with so many dusty rooms and cabins. I have so many of them. So many memories. Some of them are gone. Some of them will live on forever. In you. In others. I remember their faces that trembled in fear. I remember their houses and the parties they threw. I remember the songs and their love. I remember their touch, their warmth. It's all fading away now, Munchkin. It's fading away. It's all gray, all white, all foggy. Is it all gone already? I don't see much anymore. You're still here with me, aren't you? You're still here, Stella. Don't forget about me, please. I don't care about anyone else, but you don't forget about me. I'm telling you. I'll come back and haunt you if you do. I can feel it coming. Goodbye, Stella. Just follow your heart and keep smiling. Dang. No one really got to me. And I love her constellation. I love that it has... Because she has the tufts on her ears, and that's in the constellation, but also there's the star in the middle between her ears, because she had that flower that would float there. It was very sweet. And she had a complicated life. You know, she married Giovanni and she wanted that marriage to work and to last, but he was a lech. But she tried to be forgiving. there's still a blueprint chest here in Villa Maggiore. I think that might be a good place to go right now. She was the one who had her husband there. Yeah, he was the other lion who, you know. Keep taking over the guest room.
Look, Big Cat. Look what you told me. This guest house is now Stanley's room. It's not entirely ready. So you find a bunch of stuff to make it nice. Want to help? Well, you could. That'd be great. I need some linen fabric. I'm making something. Can't tell you what it is. It's a secret. Oh, he is a child.
Stanley is too innocent.
Oh!
Big boys are. It's no. It feels about lost child. I hope their constellations are too. We can check next time it's night on the boat, because we can come to. We can actually come to Giovanni's old couch, and that's where you can. It's a good place to watch from. If my husband died too far after me, we might have to be in different night skies, because I'll be upset. Well, my mom always tells my dad that she better predecease him or else she'll kill him. I can't even target the guest room now. Golden. So where do I get gold? And where do I get bottled ectoplasm? Maybe Stanley will help me get the bottled ectoplasm? You can take it after you're married. Cal says I better not die before her because she'll kill me. Yep, see? One thing tells me, Beer Fox, you'd get along with both my parents. In fact, I know you probably already do get along with one of them. I'll find him in heaven and kill him again.
Oh, hey, you. I can feel it in my bones. The weather's changing. Just take a look at the flowers. You don't remember when we were neighbors? We had these beautiful flowers. I'm so surprised when they grow.
I'm determined to die for my wife. Wow, Gale.
You probably, I'm not sure. Flowers are strong. They remember that they want to grow. Feel the sun. That's what I like most about you. You were always there. I'm glad we were neighbors. Maybe we would find me a new place for me to live.
Oh no, Beverly, we love you, but you also have terrible timing. You get to be in. Well, there you go. Hello? Request? Small child! I've cracked it. The door's finally open. I can rest easy knowing that I have a place to well rest. The richest rag story has shaken my core. I just want to be a rich person, but no, faith has stepped in. My new life is more precious to me. I will harvest this land. I'll be victorious and reign supreme on these veggies. I am the gardener of my own life. Okay. Is that under shenanigans? That is going to be under shenanigans. We're probably not going to get to every side quest. I'm getting close to a lot of if I'm not married by the time I'm 40 promises. Oh. Here's the other chest. Nope, it's... So the other chest is right... Well, there's a chest in there. There's a chest up there. There are tax advantages of being married. I wouldn't know. There are tax advantages of being a priest. Yes, the advantage is I don't pay taxes. Not all priests get that, though. A lot of priests do still pay taxes because they draw a salary. I don't. Hashtag religious life. It's complicated. All that for an old carpet. You do need money to file. You do need to file taxes. You make little enough money. Yeah, but I am definitely not in that sweet spot. I mean, I don't have a vow of poverty technically, but basically live one. It's constitutional. As Society of Absolute Life, you live the Constitution, not the vows. It's a little different, but they're basically there. And hey, all streamers have no money. Well, there's that. He's a tween, no money, just an allowance. Basically, that's the worst way to put it, but yeah.
Do you have a snack or something? We're advice, Big Hat. You should always have at least a cookie on you for applesauce.
I can give you an apple.
Work, what was that? Is that... Yeah, it's fruits in it, doesn't it? Fruits are yucky.
You what? Just talked about applesauce. Gonna give him a latte.
I don't think I can eat that. My mother always said I couldn't. What's a stimulant anyway?
No. What? Why are you running away? I wanted to give you... Oh. There's lightning. Where's cake? I'll give you some cake.
I have to do the dance! The dessert dance! I do it when I'm happy.
I'll eat the dessert first.
It's dessert time. So yummy.
Draft number? We still do that? Yeah, actually. I have a draft card somewhere, technically. Just gotta actually being busy with work, well, rather than just taking up space. Well, I hope it was a good busy. I do a dessert dance. I concur. Yeah, I remember getting the card. I just don't remember what I did with it. It's probably in my parents' house in the fire safety box because that's, you know, a decent place to keep important documents. I'm low on wheat, so when we... Aren't I exempt from the draft? I am now, but I got it when I was 18. I wasn't in religious life when I was 18. Your fire safety box is in your freezer. Okay. That's a place you won't forget where it is.
Oh, this place is missing something. Oh, I know. It needs a fancy decoration. It needs something awesome. A treasure. Shiny and valuable. A tchotchke, maybe? Anything. A gift. Wait, please, big hat.
Do I have a tchotchke? I do. You know what? You can have this carpet.
Wow, so cool. That's perfect. This last finishing touch to my masterpiece. My super special, awesome secret room. It might look odd, but it hides many secret passages and other types of cool stuff. It's my home now. Don't worry, I'll clean up all this stuff on the windows. Just reminds me, you had a ghost beetle in here hiding in your sofa. Probably didn't notice him. Ghost beetles are very good at hiding. And he's my friend now, and his name is Jacob. He told me he can see things no one else can. Jacob is so cool. He's got superpowers. Maybe I'll let you play with him someday.
I think I know how I get the bottled poltergeist.
Stella, do you remember? Remember those flowers? I can't. I think it's time. Time for me to admit it. I can't go on any longer. You where we need to go, neighbor? Oh, thank you.
There is a beauty in her sense of sacrifice here, saying, I can't do this anymore.
I know. I remember. Do you? The neighborhood? We were there with the flowers. We were there in that building, almost next door. You and me. We were neighbors.
She's very quiet.
You were always there for me. Oh, Stella. Oh, goodbye, sweet pea.
I will get my hug in before you go, Bev. Yeah, 2 in 1 day. Oh, little bird. So, Bev and the hedgehog, and I apologize for not remembering her name. It's been a very long time. But both face dementia, especially in their processing it to the Everdor. But I think they played out in very different ways. They're both very beautiful, moving their own way. Wherein the hedgehog, she was kind of slowly thinking. She represented more of like the slow decline into it, and like talking to Stella on the way to the Everdor. She was thinking Stella was her daughter, and like she comes to this realization right at the very end where it's like, oh, you're not my daughter. This isn't a visit. And it was incredibly sad, but beautifully done. But I think gave closure and healing to her, knowing she's going somewhere where that's not going to be a thing. Wherein Beverly, she kind of represented more of like this living with someone after the dementia has started, and what that means. But she, in contrast, I think really powerfully, whereas the hedgehog was slowly forgetting on the way to the Everdor, Beverly was remembering. She was kind of hunkering down in what she could remember, like, I can hold on to this. This is what I remember. I may be losing it elsewhere. I may not remember everything else, but I remember Stella is my neighbor and she took care of me. Which was beautiful, and she didn't need to say much else. That's what I loved, actually, about that last Everdor pass. So many of the others, there's been a pattern of, like, they'll give you 3 talks, and then they go. This one, Bev, she gave one section of talking, and then another right at the door, and that was it. And it was perfect. It was entirely her. So, 10 out of 10. Made me feel all the things. Let's go see what Mr. Mushroom's up to. Oh! 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 That's actually really cute. Hey, Stella. What do you think of them? You know, the dust shades on the boat. I mean, they're funny looking, but they're so gloomy all the time. And once they're here, they cling to you like chewed gum and never really leave you alone. They bother me, you know. I wish they'd be gone. Make me and everyone sad. What? You've never seen them? Oh, that's weird. Oh, I know. Jacob can help you. He can see them too. He's a ghost beetle after all. And you can bring him with you. He loves it when you take him out of his box. You just have to touch the glass and he'll jump out to fly with you. And then you'll see them too. But you'll have to catch them to make them go away. Careful though, they're super fast. Put on your running shoes. Sure, Jacob. Ah. Look at it run. Well, this explains where we get bobbled ectoplasm. Today's a big field day. Yeah, it is. Oh, they were everywhere. Oh, they're gone. I can feel it. I can breathe again. These dust shades are kind of cool, though. They glow and they run fast. Real fast. They don't glow. I can't run that fast. I wish I could. One day, maybe. Don't worry, Big Cat. If the dust shade ever comes back, I'll tell you right away. And you want to get rid of them? Just touch the glass in my room and walk to Jacob. Let's go to Albert's shipyard, which honestly is just right there. October is a big feels month.
Hey, Big Cat. I'm bored. Bored and angry. I never get to play around. So I was so strict on this boat. You just got here! Why don't we have some fun? What if you put anything you want in those machines, like the foundry? Yeah. That'd be incredible. Let's throw junk into it. Maybe an old shoe? Gross, but fun!
Okay, do I have an old shoe? Oh, that's the smithy. Is this... That's the crusher. Which one's the foundry? Oh, the foundry's the big smelter one. Duh. No, I didn't... I didn't want to do the event. I'm not going to try that hard with this. I mostly just want the event to pass. It's like I don't even want that many lightnings in a bottle because I don't need them much anymore. And I'd rather have the empty bottles for the ectoplasm. Still, we'll just dance in the rain. Why can't I throw a mackerel into the furnace? Let's find out, I guess? Burned mackerel. Mackerel charred with heavy metals. This mackerel tastes like cobalt. I'm getting hints of zinc. Boiled experiment. Okay. Is this mackerel silver? Yeah, so I need to smelt an old shoe, but I don't know if I have an old shoe. Because I think I would have if I had it. I just sell all my old shoes to the dude at sea. Gotta finish up at work with a meeting. Oh boy. Well, we're gonna be wrapping up right after we get this ghost lantern, so you won't miss much. Yes, hey me. Are you upset with me? Look, the kid took it over. I had a guest house. Oh, I don't have enough crystal sheets or silk fabric, which I can make. I just don't own. But you know what? We'll do that first next time. So we'll wrap it up there for the day. It's a perfect place. Took 2 folks to the Everdoor. So, well, thank you so much for tuning in to Let Us Play. I've been your host, Father Evan. It's been good to be with y'all today. Join us again tomorrow for midweek Minecraft, continuing with the church and the churchyard. Thursday, Throwback Thursday, Castlevania 4 on the Super Nintendo. Yeah. And then Friday, bonus stream, more Minecraft. That's part of the Christian Raid Train, so it should be a lot of fun. And then, yeah, I think just next week, back to Chrono Trigger for RPG Monday, more Spiritfarer for Spirituality Tuesday, and yeah. And then I'll be on Goff, not this Friday, but the following, so that'll be fun. So thank you so much for... I got to reopen this. Everyone who's liked, followed, subscribed, given bits, all that good jazz. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. And why don't we see who's live that we can raid into? Gonna send you over to Jate. I feel like we haven't raided Jate in a while. Raid call will be Big Feels Day. Big Feels Day. Just confuse him with that. So, but thank you again to everyone for tuning in. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care and God bless.